Hello and welcome to the very first episode of What's Next, a weekly show about film, music and video games. I'm your host Matt Brading, and this week is Film Week, so later on in the show I'll be talking to two students about their film recreation project. But first, here are our film experts Dan and Zoey to talk about the top 5 films of February.
The Muppets are back. After 12 years of being off our screen, with the help of fans Gary, Mary and Walter, all the Muppets are coming back together in this new storyline. It basically involves Tex Richmond, who's trying to drill under the Muppet Theatre for oil, and the Muppets are being brought to try and stop him. Jason Segel and Amy Adams play the two human fans trying to bring all the Muppets together. Jason Segel, the man made famous from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, also co-wrote the script. This could either make for a tired rehash or a nostalgic and revitalising comeback for some of TV's favourite characters.
Up next is Susan Hill's 1983 novel, The Woman in Black. It's been a play, it's been a TV movie, and now it's made into a feature film, starring Daniel Radcliffe. He plays a young lawyer, Arthur Kipps, hired to sort out the legal affairs of a recently deceased woman. He stays in her English mansion and hears the voices of dead children, discovering that the local people are terrified of an evil force killing their young ones. An awful ghost is terrorising the community, and Arthur takes it upon himself to solve the mystery and the horror for good. Now, the play was and still is a big success, and there's a huge fan base. Therefore, the pressure to get this quite right is quite large, and the high expectations are coming from people of all ages.
A new David Cronenberg film now, A Dangerous Method. This should be an interesting one. It tells the account of an early 19th century friendship between Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, his Australian colleague, who's very well known throughout the world. It takes place from 1904 to 1913 as he settles in Europe with his children and wife. He takes on the case of Sabina Spielrein, a disturbed but intelligent woman who has a troubled family past. Jung's relationship with Spielrein becomes stormy and dangerous as the boundaries between doctor and patient collapse. This is David Cronenberg. He's part of the old school filmmakers. His films are generally unsettling, they're moving, they're controversial. I'll watch anything he brings out, but this also seems like a very interesting idea as it is. If it's executed well, this could be a brilliant psychological study.
And now in the new film Rampart, Woody Harrelson plays date rape Dave Brown, working in LA's infamous Rampart division during the late 90s, which, as we all know, there was a large corruption scandal which would ultimately tear the department apart. Written by James Ellroy, the same crime novelist behind LA Confidential, his books are considered to be some of the greatest crime novels of all time, and gathering by early reviews, this promises to be a sterling adaptation and a brilliant film.
And now, our selection of the month. New film Carnage, directed by Roman Polanski. It was adapted from the play God of Carnage. It involves claustrophobia and immediacy of a war between words between two metropolitan couples that plays out in one place in real time.
The story flicks from between Paris to New York, but the events are completely the same. A couple, Nancy, played by Kate Winslet, Alan, played by Christoph Waltz, meet Penelope, played by Jodie Foster, and Michael, John C. Reilly. Now, they're there to discuss a fight between their young sons. And pretty quickly, pleasantries and politeness soon escalate into a storm of anger, vomit, drunkenness, and violence.
This film is an absolute riot. It's consistently funny, it's consistently entertaining. It's quite different in tone from other Polanski works. It's a welcome change of pace, though. The actors chosen are pitch perfect, especially Christoph Waltz. His steely looks, mixed with his bumbling off his phone calls, make for a really fun character.
As the film goes on, it gets more hysterical and manic, and some of the realism is lost, but simply put, Carnage was bloody good fun. And now for our trivia of the week. In the Muppets film, Kermit's difficulty in finding a guest star for the reunion show parallels the real history of the Muppets. Until Rudolf Nureyev, a famous Russian ballet dancer, appeared in the second season, it was very, very difficult for the producers to find celebrities willing to appear on the show.
I'm now joined by Liam and Phil, two film tech students who are here to discuss their recreation of hard candy. Hi guys.
Hi.
So what was the aim of the project?
Well, basically the aim of the project was to take a 3-minute interval from a feature-length film and recreate it as well as you can. So, so actors that look the same as the originals in the film, props that that look the same as the original, location that looks the same, getting the lighting to look the same, which is probably the most difficult. Finding cameras that look the same or look the same, and of course getting the editing to look the same so it cuts right. So basically the actual intention of it is to so if they were played on a screen, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them if they were played side by side.
Sure. Okay. And why did you choose hard candy?
It was just a matter of going through, and we looked at a couple of options, like we looked at American Beauty and American History X, but really just looking for something that was going to give us the right balance between something that's attainable on the kind of budget that we're working with, which is next to nothing, but also it's going to be a worthwhile experience that so that we can actually take something and learn through doing, basically.
Okay, well let's take a quick look at the film that you made.
Sure.
I was trying to hold you off me while I called the cops.
Well, would you have shown them this? Why do you have a picture of Donna Mauer in your safe? And well, have you seen her? Because no one else has.
I did meet Donna for coffee. I took a shot of her to make her happy.
That's pretty impressive, guys. So how did you go about planning the project?
Well, basically, once we'd picked our 3 minutes that we wanted to do, which was the hard candy, it was a matter of just watching it over and over again, a ridiculous amount of times so that you can really nitpick the scene and so that you don't leave anything to chance, basically. So it's creating a giant shopping list of all the props that you're going to need and, how many actors and the location, that sort of thing. So, so that when you actually go to shoot, you've got absolutely everything there so that when you compare them side by side, there's nothing out of place. So it's just making sure you've got everything you need, really, is the...
And how did the shoot itself go?
Overall, I think it went pretty well. Like, we had a few hiccups early on. Like, our actor was delayed. I think he missed his train, so he ended up being delayed by about an hour. But it was also kind of a blessing in disguise because it gave us time to really look at each shot and compare it with the original and get it as precisely as possible, like, compositionally, and set our lighting up. So it gave us a bit more time, so that when he came in, we were really ready and professional about it.
And what was the biggest challenge while you were making the film?
One of the biggest challenge was the set design. So actually building the set itself was actually more challenging than we thought it was going to be honest. So because we couldn't find a room that looked the same, or we didn't have the walls that were the same as that, it was we had to go out and buy plasterboard walls, get them curried back to our house to stay, and then curry them again to the actual set, paint them on set, build this whole set, and it really was a nightmare. And of course, actors was quite a problem as well. Once we'd found our actors that we wanted to use that looked like the original actors, and getting them to actually show up on time on the same day at a time that they're actually free was really difficult. It kept pushing our schedule back. We had to keep delaying the shoot. So it was challenging, really. So. And
what did you learn from the experience?
More than anything, just discipline in pre-production. So, not just turning up to a location with actors and shooting what the script says. Actually putting some thought into what goes into your shots, why certain props are present in the background, and what purpose they serve to the narrative. That's what I learned anyway.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us on the show this week.
Sure.
That's all we have time for. Join us next week where we'll be looking into the world of video games.
On the next film show, we'll be showing the funniest outtakes recorded by students.
So please send us your outtakes to what'snextshow.co.uk.
In the meantime, you can check us out on Facebook or Twitter, or you can try our snazzy new website at what'snextshow.co.uk. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.